And so now, are you guys in relationships?
No.
No, I'm good. Yeah, no, we're not. I'm not.
Okay, wait.
Really?
Does it also take a certain type of crazy to be in a relationship?
Yes, it does, actually. Don't.
Cool.
Hey, bro.
How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Okay, I'm also gonna do that. Okay, fine. All right.
Don't do it. Don't I forget my posing? Put my posing.
Hey, welcome to another one. Welcome to another one. So
I believe
today
are on a flight to Cape Town as we speak. Oh, a bit of turbulence. Oh my God.
yeah, we're flying to Cape Town. Flying to Cape Town.
Yeah,
so we're going to be having a conversation with Barbara and Belinda.
Yeah.
And Barbara and Belinda are also twins. One is living with HIV and one is not. And I want to understand what those dynamics are and the journey that they've had. And want to try and parallel their journey to the journey that you and I have had.
Yeah.
So it should be an interesting conversation.
Yeah. So pretty much what you're saying to me is they are a female version of you and I with land.
Yes, with land, okay, with land.
I feel like I wonder if we can get some land from this conversation, you know, just like worm our way in, and we should talk to them and find out. It might be such an interesting conversation that even the land issue doesn't come out. Oh well. Yeah.
We'll see. Well, you know what? Let's start this one. I've been wanting to have this one for a while, so I'm excited. Let's do it.
So Barbara and Belinda.
Barbara and Belinda, and what's happening here is we have connecting parallel lines and Life of Amawele all in one. How amazing. Two shows in one. Love it.
That's quite dope. Thank you for doing this, brother.
All right. And Togozo, bring them in.
Okay. So Tula, we have Belinda and Barbara Kingsley.
Yes.
I was happy on a Saturday to be surrounded by beautiful women. This hasn't happened in my time. It doesn't happen often where on lockdown I have two ladies all to myself because Tula is married, so that he doesn't come.
Yeah, I was just about to say you can't include Tula in that, eh?
Yeah. No.
You speak for yourself only.
No, but hold on. I don't think he can handle the two of you.
Woo!
He's weak.
Probably not.
You'd probably be right.
That's probably true. I probably can't handle both of you guys. I really.
Not bad.
I've never even tried, actually. You know, I think it's one of those things men talk about, and we make it seem like we really could handle two women. And to be honest,
yeah, be careful what you ask for. Eh? Okay, moving on.
So Tula, tell us why we're here, brother.
Sorry. Okay. So basically, we're just here to have a conversation. And so I was saying to Barbara earlier that this is actually one of the things that my brother and I had actually said we wanted to do face to face, you know, because I genuinely think that there's so much value and lessons for us from engaging with you, and of course for the people that are going to be seeing this, in understanding how the dynamics between how Barbara has been living with HIV for 20 years, and you, Belinda, from what I understand, you've just been that rock that just won't go away, you know? It's a shame that I can't say the same about Untogozo, you know, it's just, he's been useless. He's been
Belinda, please defend me. I mean, you and I are one.
Oh, you putting me on the spot here. Yeah, that note.
I really want you to come in and say, no, I'm sure he must have been great. This is the time.
I'm sure he was. I mean, you're not super glued to your seat, forcing to have this video. No shame, man.
Well, as a horrible person, and people say I bully him. Like, this is evidence that he bullies me all the time.
Well, exactly.
That's what you were telling me the other day. That's not what you were saying the other day. You were saying this brother of yours, and he's your number one. And
Barbie, whose side are you on? Barbie,
You know what? You know what's so cute? Only you guys can joke like this. If anyone else started joking about you guys like this, it's not funny, hey? Like me and Barbara, hey?
Exactly.
Yeah. It's so now.
I think Tula and I can take a good joke. Because I give a lot of people shit about everything. So I take a good punch when I can.
As you should.
Yeah.
I was going to say, as one should.
Exactly. So you guys are really good. You guys
Like in our adult age, we take life too seriously, man.
Yeah.
I think life is difficult, and I keep saying this: life is difficult on its own without you having to contribute with your bad mood and you all of these things. Just be happy, man, and smile. It becomes easier, you know.
Well, exactly. You just flow. Exactly.
I always say life is simple. It's us that complicate things.
Exactly.
Right.
So when
Life can be very simple.
Yeah, it can. So quick one, between the two of you guys, Barbara and Belinda, when did you guys start, just to clarify, so Barbara has been living with HIV for how long now, Barbara?
20 years. In December it will be 20 years. I was diagnosed on the 29th of December 2000.
Wow. That's a really good story. So now my question is, since we're speaking about jokes, right? How long did it take you guys to start making jokes about HIV from like...
A good question.
Yeah, look, for myself, I think that I only came to a place of acceptance probably 8 years later in 2008. Before then, I hadn't really accepted my status, and because of it, I nearly died. So I think I lived in a place of superficial acceptance. I always like to call it or denial. I kind of brushed it aside and tried to believe that it wasn't true. And we never really spoke about it too much. I was also in a bad relationship at that time, so I didn't see too much of my sister for various reasons, not my own choice. And I think only after I got really, really sick and I started treatment, and then of course since I got divorced, we start seeing much, much more of each other. So, but acceptance took me a long time. You know, I speak right now as an activist, and I always say that HIV is nothing in my life. I don't speak for myself. I speak for others for the purpose of empowering others. But HIV it took me a long time to get to this place. It's not something that just happened overnight. And you must remember 2000 was a very different time back then. There was no You Equals You. There was no PEP. There was no PrEP. There was no Facebook. There was no support. There was no online support. I didn't know anybody else who was infected. So it was a very different time. And it was a very, very dark and long and lonely road that I walked for many, many years without having anybody to turn to. And all the strength that I managed to find, I did it on my own, which is why I am so passionate now about standing up and speaking out and being there for those that, to be that person that I needed all those years ago. And in as much as I had acceptance from my sister and my family, they didn't know. It's also very difficult. It's also very different when you know someone who's infected, or who's walked that road, as opposed to support from somebody who doesn't. They want to understand, but you can't really understand unless you've been there, and to know what it's like to get that diagnosis. So, but I know that Belinda has kind of. We were actually just talking about it now. She was the one that. He was the one that I think I was the very, very first person I ever told. And you've always kind of been supportive, hey, my Mankey? And yeah, how long did it take for us to make? I always threatened to bite you and infect you like that. Yeah, let me bite you.
The viral load is so low. You can bite me. Go for it.
But yeah, I know we joke about it a lot, but it took many, many years for that. Many, many years. Yes.
I think Tula and I, because I guess I'm probably the one, I joke about everything. Well, we pretty much all joke about everything. I think Tula from 2009, I think by 2010, I was killing jokes about his HIV. I was...
Oh, really?
Yeah, people would cringe and look at me funny. But what I realized was it did not have power over us. And one thing that has kept us going over years has just been laughter. Like Tula and I laugh at everything. I swear to God, man, like I think a friend could pass away now at 12. And
you need to start using a different example. Like use a different example. Use your imagination. Use that brain cell, that one brain cell that's somewhere at the back.
That you've got left.
Let me try to use the brain cell then. If Tula were to die at 12, I would be making jokes.
Yeah, no.
I would be making jokes.
5 past.
At 5 past, I'd just be like,
5 past, never.
But if you were to die at 12, would you still be making jokes?
No, exactly. You see, we've been fine at 5 past, never. Hey.
Oh, that is so great.
Shame.
And then, so now, this superficial acceptance, right?
Yeah.
I want you to explain that, because I think there are possibly a lot of people that are in that zone of superficial acceptance, and they just don't know what are the signs. Like, what is there to look for when? Like, what did you go through that was superficial? You were telling everyone or yourself that you had accepted it, but deep down you were like falling apart.
Yeah. Look, I certainly hadn't come to a place of complete acceptance. And when I say I accepted it superficially, it didn't upset me, but I couldn't talk about it. I couldn't go for viral load checkups. I never accepted it on a deep level, because if I had, why have I gone dark? If I accepted it profoundly comprehensively, I would have been able to go for viral load tests. So, I'd say, no, I'm fine with being HIV positive. Go for a viral load test. No, I can't talk about it. They always say when you have healed properly from something, you are able to talk about it without evoking deep emotion. And I said that I had accepted it, but I couldn't go towards it in depth, because it would start evoking deep emotion, and that ultimately led to I nearly died. My CD4 count ended up dropping to 86, and I just completely I lived in a place of denial, and I wasn't really too open about it either. I told a few people, but I'd never accepted it on a deep level, because I would have been able to embrace it completely, and I wasn't able to do so. So I lived in a place of denial, pretending that I had accepted. And then when my CD4 count dropped to 86, I think about 2 years prior, in hindsight, having gone back and looked at my viral load checkups and whatnot, I think in 2006, my CD4 was, I think, just on 300. And within 18 months or something like that, it had dropped to 86.
Wow.
So I don't think you have to be a rocket scientist to know that if I had left it longer, what would have happened. Yeah. And had I accepted it comprehensively way back, I would not have gotten to that point. But then again, there was no support. I didn't know. There was nobody to tell me what to do. There was nobody... it's not the way it was today. And I'm not saying it's easier, Well, maybe in a way it is, because I find people nowadays can come to a place, of course, with support and that sort of thing. They can come to a place of acceptance a lot quicker, like within a year or less, or months even. A lot of people that I counsel have come to that place of acceptance within a few months, and I'm thrilled about that.
Yeah.
But all I knew about HIV was that you died. That's all I knew. That's all I ever saw was death, and that you died. I didn't know of anybody who was infected. I didn't know of anyone who'd survived. So that's my understanding. You know, I always say to people, you want a different outcome, you need to tell yourself a different story. And obviously, I was telling myself a story that I wasn't going to survive. I really didn't think that I would ever live this long. I mean, I've just turned 50 now, and I mean, this birthday has been such a milestone for me, because I was 30 when I was diagnosed, and I never ever thought that I would live till this age. I didn't save for a pension for a very long time, because I never believed that I would still be alive. Now I've got to play catch up. Yeah. But that's the least of my problems. But I honestly never thought that I would. I didn't know. I couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I had no idea how long my road was going to be. Of course, I know now, but I didn't know then. And it was that mindset that I lived with for all those years. And that's often what I say to people now. You know, if you, I wasn't going to die, but I didn't know that at the time. And the people that I counsel, you know, I always say, okay, you were diagnosed. Some of them have only been diagnosed 3 days a week prior. And I'll say to them, you want to know what's going to happen in 2 decades. You want to know what your future holds. I am living your future for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You want to go run 3 comrades, go. And then, like, nobody wants to, but you know, I ran 3 comrades. So, yeah, no one's really keen on that, but they're all living parts.
Yeah.
By the way, when I actually found out that you guys are almost 50, I was like, you guys don't look a day above 35.
Well, thank you. I'll take that. I'll absolutely take that.
I'll take it too.
Yeah.
And Belinda, now these 8 years from 2000 to 2008, what was it like for you? Like being on the sides? I know you guys were not talking as much, but what was those 8 years like for you?
Well, it was interesting. I was actually thinking earlier now that in a way it was a blessing Barbie was in this horrendous relationship, because we hardly saw each other. I was living in Sea Point at the time, and she was in Thornton. So, I mean, there was about, 17 kilometer, 15K kilometer difference. And this person she was with was such a hard work. You know, it was easier just not to go there. So, in a way, you know, we would chat maybe on the phone, but I wasn't aware of what was going on day by day or how she was feeling or looking. So, obviously, at first, I thought, my God, she's going to be dead in 2 years, like when we first got the diagnosis. And then, you know, she didn't die, and we got on with our lives, and then kind of just went on the back burner. And, yeah, it was cool. You know, we just stopped thinking about it. She didn't get sick. So we were like, it's okay. But then, you know, Barbs, you were under a lot of stress with work, a lot of stress. And then, remember, you got those mosquito bites that wouldn't heal. And we would have fights about it, and used to be adamant that it wasn't, used to make excuses all the time.
I was in denial, hey?
And we would fight. I would try and bring it up, you know, we would fight, and then I just let it go, because I also kind of believed you. I wanted to believe you when you said, oh, nonsense, it's nothing, you know. I wanted to believe you. So I think the fact we weren't communicating and actually seeing each other, I mean, I look back now, I can't believe it. We live in the same complex now. And I mean, we see each other probably every day. I mean, I literally went for almost a year without seeing you. I can't believe it. It was such an interesting time.
Yeah, we live right the corner from each other, like 100 meters.
That is intense. Tula, you must move in with me, bro. This is how things
No, we did that. No.
Oh. 100 is fine. It's social distancing before COVID, hey?
Social distancing.
No. No,
When we lived together for that small time, we nearly got divorced. It was terrible.
he got divorced. He nearly got divorced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think if we think of I think you guys are 50 years old, which is fantastic. It's strange because I think Tula and I thought that we would not make it past 25.
Good Lord. But how old were you, Tula, when you were diagnosed? You were young, hey?
No, I think this has got nothing to do with HIV, actually. And I think probably now this takes us to a different conversation. So, and also you take them through it.
So in the Black community, growing up, Tula and I hardly ever saw twins that were older than 30, right? And every set of twins that we knew they would die at 23. One would die at 23. One would follow by 24. And
What?
dude, it was crazy. So Tula and I always had this thing that at some point that one of us was going to die at any minute.
And also, I think one of the things that people would say was, have you guys ever seen a set of twins that are 40 years old? And we'd be like, we don't know. They're like, yeah, because one always dies, you know? And they would introduce you to someone and they would say, that person had a twin and the twin died when they were young. But there was this belief that in the Black culture, if there are twins, okay, one either dies at birth or in the early years of their lives, one of them is going to pass on, and then the other one will just live life as if they never had a twin.
Yeah. Or if they do kind of perish, they both go like a year apart. So we were terrified. So when I made it to 25, it was a party. I was just like...
That's actually so interesting. I had no idea that was a thing. It's almost like a superstition.
Yeah, it is.
Yes. Yeah.
There's no real basis for it, but you know what is interesting?
An idea.
To go back to what I was saying earlier is what you believe yourself, what you tell yourself to be true. And you lived with this, how could I say, interaction with a belief, yes. And you lived as if it was true, but you can see that it is not.
Yeah.
It's not. You know what it's like? It's like albinism, right? People think
yes,
that...
I was thinking.
Yes, you know, so there's another Black thing in the Black community that if you find a set of twins and you kill them and you take their body parts, you get amazing muti, you know? So, yeah. So growing up, grandma was very protective of us. And so I think and I'm looking at you guys, I'm looking at your faces now, and those are the different dynamics that I just wanted us to chat about. And it's beautiful how when you get to speak to other sets of twins, you actually find other things that you didn't even think existed. Like
honestly, I didn't know. I know about the albino, and I know that, but I didn't know about twins. No wonder they don't live till over 25.
That's what people said, yeah.
Gosh.
And the muti thing, that sounds, I've heard that before, but like, the rest, like, it's actually quite shocking to me. Like, wow, I didn't even know it was a thing. No, it's almost like you want to let them out one at a time so they think it's the same person. Gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
Survival of the fittest, man. Survival of the fittest. Oh, the
shame, man.
Now that, Belinda, is a good one.
Thanks.
Maybe that's why twins are dressed identically. Maybe it's not because of maybe it's because of love. About that?
Yeah, maybe there's like a whole story to it. Oh.
Yes, the history of identical twins. Go Google it, shall we?
Oh, God, stop it.
Okay. When did you guys stop dressing in the same clothing?
My
Woo,
mom's not missing us probably, although we still do it occasionally, Belinda.
yes, but that's another story. Probably, how old were we? Probably like sub A, sub B, 7-ish.
Okay.
Maybe we're little. Yeah.
Not sub A and sub B. Jeez.
Woo! Grade
Yeah.
1, grade 1, grade 2. We all remember.
Oh, okay. Jeez. I'm like, sub A, sub B?
Girl, well, we won't talk about the horrid little outfits we had to wear. That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, it's like real 1970s style,
Shut
eh?
up, Barbara.
I feel like I want to see pictures. I want to see.
No.
Woo!
No,
Can you imagine?
not fit for social media. Listen,
Some rocker suits and fucking what's it done? Whatever, yeah.
Oh.
but naturally, how did you end up getting tested? What made you go and test, and how did you kind of? How long did it take for you to disclose to your brother, and how did that all unfold? Because you've been living with HIV for 10 years now, hey?
11.
You were like 11. So how old are you now? You're young still, hey?
I'm gonna turn 35.
You're young like us. Yeah, 35. Okay.
Yes.
So you were only 25 when you got diagnosed.
Pretty much. 24.
So, that's young,
Well,
eh?
only 5 years old, younger than you, but anyway.
Who's
No, but
counting?
when you got diagnosed, you were 30. Seriously,
Yeah,
25, 30.
Yeah, but what year was that? It was a different year, very different year.
Oh, yeah.
It was 2009. And
There you go.
So it was 9 years after you. 9 years after you, and I think probably when you were busy training for your first Comrades Marathon.
Yes, you were diagnosed.
That's when I found out.
Wow.
So essentially, I was dating this girl, and things were getting serious. And I had just taken her to Pietermaritzburg, and we had spent Christmas with the family. And we driving back to Polokwane. I was staying in Polokwane at the time, and we're like, "Hey man, let's get tested." So we stopped. We got tested. My results. I think they did the quick rapid test.
Yeah.
And they were like, Mr. Mkhize, we need to send blood to the lab. And I was like, okay, I didn't think anything of it, right? So 3 days later, they called me back and they said, you're living with HIV. And literally, as I walked out of the doctor's rooms, I found him. And I told him.
And how did you take it?
He claims that I cried. I don't know why he lies.
You lie, same.
You cried.
He claims that I cried. Guys, I don't cry. Look at this. It's Kalahari here. We don't have anything. We don't cry. So I think what he used to do was he would phone me late at night and he would cry, right? But obviously I'm such an amazing, supportive brother. I pretended to cry with him because we are one. It's called the support structure, okay? So that's what I did. So he would start bawling his eyes out and I'd be there just going, okay. And then I'd cry with him. It's almost like—
You cried in solidarity, hey?
In solidarity.
There you see, I understand, because I too am an activist.
You know, so I was really a good support structure. I mean, when he started ARVs, I joined him just as a, as a thing. I did not. I didn't do that. No.
After you were diagnosed, did you then start treatment? No,
actually, I think I only started treatment in 2011. And I always tell people this. I started treatment not because I was sick, not because there was anything wrong. It's because I was informed enough and I understood the benefits of starting treatment, right? So I was like, hey man, They say this thing almost eliminates this thing back to zero. I'm like, hey, this is what I gotta do, you know. And the reason why him and I were able to make jokes a year later is because when I was going through this journey of really trying to understand what HIV is, so that if I know what it is, then I know how to fight back. You right?
Empower yourself, knowledge.
Exactly. You know, he went on the same journey with me, and we actually both understood that actually, hey man, we can beat this, and because we were in a position of being informed and a position of power, and we knew we could beat it, and hence we started making jokes about it. It wasn't a thing, you know?
Exactly. You know, I always say when you have knowledge, or when we have knowledge over our status, we have power over it. When we do not have knowledge over our status, it has power over us.
Yes.
And you cannot address something if you are not aware of it. That's why it's so important to get tested, to know our status. ARVs are so much more powerful than the virus because it renders it dormant. So, you know, I find a lot of the time people give so much power to HIV. It's a tiny little virus which cannot sustain itself when armed with our ARVs. And that's what I always try to make people understand. They give it so much power when it's really not that powerful. It's really not that powerful.
Yeah.
That's true, man. And now I want to ask you though, right? Belinda, why didn't you run the comrades with your sister? What a horrible person.
I hate distance. I can't handle endurance anything. I don't think I've ever run more than 7 Ks in my life. Horrible. But I used to, someone had to support her, hey? I mean, if I weren't standing on the side of the road screaming, that's my sister, who else was going to do it?
I know. I used to run out the races, and Belinda would be swearing, "That's my sister, superhero Barbie," and then people would be laughing at me on the run behind me, going, "Superhero Barbie," and it's like,
oh man! I used to drive past in the car screaming, "Whoa!" like the entourage.
Yeah, that is the best support you could ever get. I don't have. It's almost like Tula. The question Tula's asking is actually quite juvenile. It's almost like saying, Dogozo, why didn't you get infected with HIV in support of me? Like
exactly.
Well, exactly. Now, how the hell was I meant to run comrades as well? Like, I needed to be there for Barbara, hey? Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
And to
always
support
Belinda
someone,
can be arranged, hey? This HIV can be arranged.
Can be arranged.
Exactly.
Oh.
No,
I'm good, thanks.
Like when there's a will, there's always a way.
Yeah,
I'm good.
We'll make a plan.
I'll pop over.
Yeah.
Takes a special kind of crazy to do comrades.
Yeah,
It's true. I'm the kind of person, it's these ironclad, iron-willed people that will do it till they like can't, and I'll be like, you win, it's fine. I'm going to just stop. I don't care. I don't have that thing. I'm like, I'm good. Like, yay.
You win.
Running was
I'm tired. I'm going to sit down. No.
Running was very addictive, I'll be honest, but I can't believe how I ran it. It's like inconceivable for me to think how I ran it, but I started bodybuilding now, so that's my new addiction.
Okay.
How many times did you do it?
3.
3 times. Good. Okay.
Yeah. That's 3 more times than any sane person.
Than anybody else.
Exactly. I did go in the bus. I went in a bus once from Pietermaritzburg to Durban. Stop, it was far. No, Durban to Pietermaritzburg. I was so tired, remember, and the bus got quieter and quieter. Everyone was like, shit, we have to run this.
It is, because the day before you take the bus drive through to show you the route, and everybody gets in the bus and you're all chatting and what's what. And then like about an hour and a half into the bus drive, everybody starts going quiet. Like, you realize you've got to run this tomorrow.
Listen, I'm from Pietermaritzburg, and we used to party in Durban all the time. And And that trip back after a night of drinking, you realize how far it is. So I can't. I'm sorry. It's not.
No, I know. I completely understand.
It is more for
I don't blame you.
It is more for me.
And so now, are you guys in relationships?
No.
No, I'm good. Yeah, no, we're not. I'm not.
Okay, wait.
Really?
Does it also take a certain type of crazy to be in a relationship?
Yes, it does, actually. Don't you think that you go, Barbara, then I'll go.
No, I think you go, Monkey. You can
Okay,
go.
that's a whole nother, how do I say it? This is a whole nother Zoom meeting to talk about that, and relationships and modern day relationships and instant gratification and how the internet has turned that on its head, so to speak. So yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, no, it's very different nowadays. So you know, I'm not married to my business as well. I love my work. I'm very busy. Well, before this whole COVID thing hit. So, you know, I go to gym, I do my hot yoga. I've got such a busy life. I really don't have time. So, yeah. And my business is my...
I think for myself, you know, like you say, it's tricky finding. I think also, you know, it's for myself, I will be in a relationship because I want to be in a relationship, not because I need to be in a relationship. So that person has to be, they've got to be right. I won't do a relationship for the sake. It's not like I haven't been able to find someone to be with, but it has got to feel completely right. And, you know, when you throw HIV into the mix as well, I've suffered quite a lot of rejection from people. But then having looked back, I don't want to be with someone who wouldn't want to be with me because of that. You know, and I tend to live my life in such a way that, I mean, I've traveled overseas of my own. I go and I live my best life. I do everything that I love. And, you know, if I'm single, I'm happy and I live my life anyway. If I'm with somebody, I'll be happy and I'll live my life anyway. But I'm sure as hell not waiting around for that one to complete me. I think it's about finding that happiness within yourself, and to find somebody to share that with will be the cherry on the top. But it's not something I'm waiting for. If they come along, fantastic. If they don't come along, fantastic. I'll win both ways.
That is so profound. And you know what? Also, Barbie, I think those people that have walked out of your life because of your status, it's their loss. You know, they've missed out.
Absolutely, 100,000%. You know, it used to upset me, and for a long time, I mean, how many times would I be sitting there crying because somebody's walked away from me? I'm not going to do that anymore, you know. Like you say, it is their loss, and I know who I am. And, you know, I have written a book which I still need to get published, but one of the things that I say, I will never, ever, ever again, firstly, apologize for who I am. And secondly, when I have to start trying to convince a person to be with me, when I start having to justify myself, that is the day I walk away. I will never do that again. I am who I am. And if you can't accept all of me, I don't want you. I don't want you.
Yeah.
100%. Wow. Well, it's actually been an amazing conversation, and I'm committing that when all of this is over and it has settled down, I would like us to have a face-to-face. I really would.
I was thinking
that'll be so much fun. That'll be so great.
Absolutely amazing. You guys are awesome. You have a crazy sense of humor. You guys are amazing. I would absolutely love to meet you, and I'm sure that we will when all of this is over. And thank you for that thing that you shared, that I shared on my page. I've had a few people coming back about those of us who are living with HIV or at no greater risk of contracting the virus, etc.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that.
You see, I changed my thing to say, and go follow good stories. If you look at my comments. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. But yes, we will most definitely meet. I think it will be an amazing. It will be a long meeting, a long day.
Yeah, it will be a long.
I'm gonna do it, Belinda.
Oh,
Awesome.
That's very cute.
see, I'm getting tired already. No.
Over drinks. It will be amazing. You guys are absolutely awesome. It was so amazing to meet you. Really, it was.
No, you guys are awesome, man. This
Stop
was
it.
stop it. This was absolutely. I had fun, and I can't
It was
wait.
fun, eh?
And I meant it. You guys don't look 50. It's just I'm looking at you now, and I'm like, no, this.
Yeah, it's called.
This is what
I'm
50 looks
darling,
like.
I have a sister in the skincare business, and we never will look 50.
Oh, okay. Right.
That is her whole profession, skincare, aesthetic skincare. We shall never look 50. Even when we are 100, we shall never look 50.
I think
Hey, exactly.
when Tula and I come
Thank you.
down, then we'll come down as scruffy as we can, so that we come back to.
Oh, you must go for a massage. Belinda is the queen of massage, hey?
Oh yeah,
She is.
I need it.
Oh, thanks. I need it.
double, you know. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you so much, ladies.
Such a pleasure. It was so lovely to chat to you guys, to meet you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Douglas, you were saying something. Sorry.
No, I just wanted to say thank you guys for a lovely afternoon, and yeah, I feel like it's such a beautiful thing when you see people rise above situations,
Circumstances.
and I think because I feel like Tula's story, because of his mindset, almost became an easy one. We take for granted that it does become an easy journey over time.
Exactly.
But it doesn't. But then also, we also now have to appreciate the fact that we're at a different place, like you were saying, Barbara, that there's people that find out this week and they're okay the week after. And I think the important thing is, when all is said and done, time passes and things change and things just get better over time. But I do think in my heart, because I know you guys want to live for a long time, I'd love for you guys to find love and have like beautiful little babies running around. I don't know if you guys even want kids, but I think life is just so much better when you have someone to share it with. And I want that for you guys. For some reason, I feel like I want that for you guys.
That is so sweet.
Yeah.
Thank
That
you.
is so sweet. And I just want to thank you guys as well for what you do. I mean, you know, I think it's so important, and I always say, I understand that not everybody can stand up and can speak out for various reasons, but for those of us who can, I think it's so important to do it. And to both of you, thank you so much for what you do, because I know that by virtue of us speaking out, we make the journey for others so much easier.
Yes.
And I feel it's our responsibility to do that.
Yeah. Fantastic.
On that high note, thank you so much, ladies. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Did everybody just do this?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
Do it again.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.